Thank you, Minister. Mr. Tabera, we have about 4 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you for the ministers and department staff for being here today. My question is we just heard from the other side that processes haven't been cut. I just want to talk about some of the false information and to see if some of these processes have been cut. So I want to talk about Minister Sen. You mentioned preferential treatment in your statement. You said that that there's false information about preferential treatment between asylum seekers and refugee claimants. These are completely separate application streams that I'm aware of. Can you please elaborate on that?
Thank you. That's a really important question. It deals with the implication that somehow the asylum claimants coming in are, impacting or degrading our ability to meet our targets with respect to the other streams of immigration, whether it is family class, economic immigration, and the overseas resettled refugees. And nothing could be further from the truth in the sense that asylum claimants are processed and then they go before the IRB. So it's a different stream altogether, whereas the rest of the immigration system are people who are processed and selected and approved by the IRCC. So it's 2 different streams, and therefore, and even in our ability to do so. So the suggestion that somehow an asylum claimant is taking the spot of an overseas resettled refugee is simply not supported by the facts.
Clarifying that. My second question can be both to Minister Sen or Minister Goodale. The ad hoc intergovernmental task force on irregular migration been playing with regards to collaboration between the federal and provincial governments to address irregular crossings. Can you elaborate on what the ad hoc intergovernmental task force has been cooperating with?
It's been an effort to make sure that all of the federal agencies and all of the provincial agencies that are directly engaged in dealing with crossing issues are working effectively together. And it's been an unprecedented but very good exercise. The provincial ministers are at the table with the federal ministers. They constantly review and update the most recent information. They identify where the pressure points might be that need special attention, and they work collaboratively with each other to make sure the solutions are deployed. It's been a very good process, and it's one that may be replicated in other areas of federal, provincial, territorial circumstances that involve different agencies and different levels of government together. It's very useful. Emma?
Yeah, so I will use an example of what we've been able to do together to give you a sense of how useful the ad hoc committee task force has been. So the government of Quebec approached us with a concern for the potential impact that the numbers of asylum seekers could potentially have on their social assistance program, and they asked us to assist them in the expediting of work permits for all asylum seekers so that these people can support themselves while they wait for their IRB hearings. And we were able to, because they identified that pressure point, we were able to then bring that concern back to our department, and IRCC has been able to quickly move to address that pressure point and expedite the processing for work permits for all asylum seekers so that we minimize the impact that they have on provincial social assistance programs. So that's an example, a concrete way, an example of how the task force has been able to identify pressure points and work together to solve them collectively.
Thank you, ministers, and thank you, Mr. Tabera. That comes